Hey, welcome back to another Lone Angler installment in a series that whenever I decide to end it, it ends. I don't know. Been doing this almost 3 years. Matter of fact, next month, I believe September 19th, the Lone Angler turns 3 years old. How cool is that? I didn't think it would last this long. But hey, here we are, episode 187. It's just me today, guys. It's just me. So welcome to anybody that's just discovered this train wreck. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Let me have a little sip of the bubbly on this fine afternoon. It's going to be Monday morning for you guys. I hope you start off the week on a positive note and a productive mindset, if you will. I don't know. I've said it on here before. I like Mondays, man. It's a clean slate. You know, it's a whole new week. Could be the greatest ever. Could be the worst ever. Who knows? But let the adventure begin. I'd like to take this moment right now to thank Panfish Pursuers P3 Plastics for supporting the Lone Angler. If you want to up your panfish game, crappies, bluegills, rock bass, you know, any of those panfish, head on over to p-3plastics.com and check out their profiles. They've got 1 billion and 1,000 million colors. They even have Angler Pro Packs. There's one for the Lone Angler. Divulge some of my secrets. Secrets. There's nothing in this fishing world that's secret anymore. My good friend Crafty's got a Pro Pack. Absolutely. So that's a great way to get started in the P3 Plastics game. And if you need a code, I have a code. There's a code in the description of this podcast. I'm not going to tell it here. That's kind of cheating. I'm going to have you go to the description of this podcast to find the code there. Also, thank you to Ridgetop Outdoors for supporting the Lone Angler. They're a local bait and tackle place here in Bemidji, just south of town where Highway 71 and 2 intersect. Right next to the overpass there. They've got all your needs. If you're heading up here to do a little fishing or passing through town on your way up to Lake of the Woods or over to Winnie, Cass Lake, any of the big ones around here. Swing in there. It's got all the minnows, hooks, line, rods, reels, the whole 9 yards. And with fall approaching too, he's got archery supplies, and I believe that he's restringing bows and tuning bows and stuff like that too. So definitely want to stop in at Ridgetop Outdoors. When you do, just tell him the Lone Angler sent you. That'd be awesome. All right, where do we begin? Where do we begin with episode 187?
I'm adventuring.
Where are you adventuring to?
Places I haven't been before. I just want to get to level 9.
What's at level 9?
It's one past level 8.
I know where we're going to begin. I want to talk a little bit right now about my analog, or should I say traditional fishing journal. I have it in my hands right here. The journal itself, I found at Office Max. It's pretty nice. It's an A5 series, so it's, I just so happen to have a ruler here. I say A5 because I've been going down YouTube rabbit holes on journals, fountain pens, that kind of stuff. We'll get into that in a second here, but it's approximately 6 wide, and how tall is this thing? 8.5 high. That's the cover anyway. You know, so the paper is going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be, I don't know, around 5 3/4 by, we're going to throw this baby out here. About 8.5. A5 size. Anyway, I got this of at Office Max or Office Depot, whatever it's called now. These companies, they buy each other out and whatnot. But anyway, got it right here in town. It's got a nice leather cover. And I specifically said, well, this is going to be my fishing journal. And I thought at first, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just, when I'm done fishing for 22, 23, so I would end the, I don't know, probably last ice in in the spring coming up here. I thought, well, I'll just put this one away, but I think I'm going to keep using it, and I'm just going to fill it up. And I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because it would be kind of nice to, hey, this was this year. Okay, if I wanted to re-reference this at some point, I could just pull out the year I want to re-reference. But I could, do 22, and then when it is full, whatever year that ends on, I can just put that in there. But then I went ahead and I bought myself a fountain pen. I've never owned a fountain pen before. And like I mentioned earlier, I went down this huge rabbit hole, and continually down that rabbit hole. Oh my God, I'm having troubles talking today. Hold on. I'm continuing down this rabbit hole of fountain pens just because I think they're cool and it's a lot of fun to write with. Now, the fountain pen I got isn't like super expensive. I think this thing was under $6, but it's called a Platinum Preppy. And the reason I chose a fountain pen is because I only have one of them, and it's a unique writing experience, and it's actually helped me stay on track with this journal somewhat because I enjoy writing with this, and it's the only thing that I use in this journal. So there's a connection there. I'm weird like that, but it's cool. And if you're wanting to get into journaling your fishing adventures old school style, this would be a good way to start. If it sounds interesting to you, just get yourself a nice journal. I think this one was like $15 or something like that, but it's got a nice leather cover, and I don't know, it's got good quality paper in it. But I think the important part here is to get yourself something unique to write with, and that's the only thing that you use in your fishing journal. And it kind of like, it doesn't force you, but it makes you want to hurry up and get the next entry put in. I don't know. That's what it does for me. And I'm already, because I went on these YouTube rabbit hole adventures in journaling, I've already found a different system of journaling that I'd like to do. And I have a decision to make whether I want to abandon this original plan once this year's done and then get this new journal. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. I think it's a Rototagen, something like that. Anyway, it comes from Germany. It's leather bound, but it's got these metal clips inside of it, and you put smaller notebooks in there or sketch pads or whatever. Anyway, this journal that I found is really cool. The issue is it's $165. And I don't know how much of an issue that is. Some people be like, $165 on a journal cover or whatever. But the thing of it is that should last you the rest of your life. And what's neat about it is you just open these metal clips on the inside. Once that notebook is filled out, then you slip a new one in there. So it's like a forever thing. So I'm kind of looking at maybe seeing this spring about switching over to that. And I'll put a link to that in the description of this podcast in case you're curious. I have no affiliation with it or anything like that. I just think it's really cool. The other rabbit hole that I went down was, of course, fountain pens. And I got this one here. I think it was under $5. And of course I had to go and try to find the most badass fountain pen there is, right? Well, I found one. And gouletpens.com, they have a section. I think it's a majority of their website is fountain pens. But if you go on the left-hand side, there's a menu, and there's a little filter called 1,000+. Which is more than $1,000. You click that and you start scrolling through there. First of all, the sticker shock on $1,000 fountain pen is enough, right? Well, if you keep scrolling, you will eventually find a fountain pen that's $15,000. That's right, $15,000. It comes from Japan. It takes the craftsman, one guy, Takes him many, many months to fabricate this thing. It's got a bunch of crazy material inlays on it and whatnot. By no means am I trying to justify a purchase of that. Fuck, man, my car isn't even close to... My car is valued at probably 10% of that. $15,000. Why would I buy a $15,000 pen when I have a $1,500 car? Some people do that kind of shit. That's not me. Anyway, it was really interesting to see. I was joking around at work and said, yo, you got to check this out, Alex. He was like, holy shit. And I said, yeah. When I sign the loan papers on my first Tesla, I'll sign it with this. Now, the reality of it is probably never going to own a Tesla. And if I do, I'll need that $15,000 towards the Tesla and not the fountain pen. Hey, I got a cat at my feet. I love this kitty, but it's still a kitty. It's still a youngling in its learning. It's super curious about everything that I do. I haven't been able to shit alone in, I don't know, the 2 months that she's been here. She's meowing right now because I'm not giving her attention. Hey, man, I know I'm a cool guy, but you're just going to have to wait. Yeah, but back to the fish journal. Got a little sidetracked on the pens. I'm going to crack this thing open, and I'll give you a little breakdown of how I set up my pages. And, yeah, so, like, I have each entry numbered. So, this year, well, since I started journaling, my first journal entry was April 1st. So, trip number 1 to the most recent, which was this last Friday. I've done 13 trips in the flow tube. So that's been kind of cool to keep track of that. I've also kept track of species caught, weather conditions, water temp when I have my little Garmin on my flow tube, some details about the methods I was using to catch fish. And the very first paragraph is just kind of a little summary of the day, anything that unusual happened or funny or heartbreaking or anything like that. And then I've always wanted to do this, and I remember doing it. I shouldn't say I've done it one other time, and I was a long, long time ago. But I'm going to keep track of the total fish I caught. And so far in 2022, I've caught 201 fish for 13 outings. That's an average of 15.6 fish per outing. I like data. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to data like that. What else do I have on here? I always indicate, like, as part of the method is, you know, whether I'm vertical jigging or I'm casting and what baits I'm using, if I'm using live bait or no bait, and where I'm catching the fish at, depth-wise or location-wise, structure-wise. That type of deal. And then, yeah, I keep track of each species caught on that outing. So on Friday it was pretty bleak. I caught 11 bluegills, 1 bass, and 1 crappie for a total of 13 fish in like the hour that I fished. What a disaster. I pulled a completely rookie move last Friday. I'll be the first to admit that. Hey, man, I was sitting here. I got done with work at around noon. I came home. I said, I'm going to kick the tube. And I looked at a weather app, but I didn't look at the radar. I just was concerned about the wind. You know, what's it coming in at, what direction, and that kind of stuff. Because it's kind of important when you're in a float tube. Okay, kind of sucks, man. You really end up getting a leg workout if it's super, super windy. And the wind was hardly any. So I take off. I drive a half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that, get to my spot. I get out there, kicking around. I hear a little thunder in the distance. And then I didn't think anything of it because it was kind of far off. Where I was at, it was still partly cloudy, mostly sunny. But I could tell this thunder was off in the distance. I fish a little bit more. And I hear what sounds like the wind picking up. Well, I continue to fish a few more minutes, and it's getting louder and louder. And I look, and I just see this wall of rain. And now, like I said, I'm in my flow tube, so it's not like I can just put shit down, fire up the outboard, and crank away and get the hell out of there. Nope. I'm a good 10-minute kick from the landing, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. So as it starts to rain on me, I decide to look at the weather app, and I look at the radar this time. And at first I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just a little pocket of rain. We'll get a little wet. Big deal. Yeah. Well, I pop open the radar, and that wasn't the case at all. No. We had more shit rolling in behind this one that was currently on top of me. So needless to say, I kicked off the lake, called it a day after about an hour 20 minutes. And, which is fine. The water temp where I was at was still like almost 74 degrees. So it's not going to be cooling off anytime soon. But, I drove home and kind of took in the fact that I pulled a little bit of a rookie move. I was a little bit too excited to get out there and catch a little fish. You know, it happens. It happens. Lesson learned, the float tube is slowly drying out, and the important stuff is also drying out. But we'll do it again. We will do it again for sure. Oh, man. We are rolling into September pretty fast. I'm looking forward to it. 2 years ago, I think in September, I think it was a lone angler's birthday, matter of fact, I went out, did some bluegill fishing, and I caught the biggest bluegill that I've caught in many, many years on September 19th, 2020. It was 11 3/4 inches. I remember I caught it in 22.5 feet of water, about 18 feet down. At first, I thought it was a bass. I think it's still up on my YouTube channel. I got very lucky because as I was holding the fish up for about 5 seconds, and then I just started talking about it, and the GoPro had overheated, shut down. But I was able to get some still shots from the video and all that kind of stuff. But 11 3/8, big female. So I'm kind of looking forward to really honing and fine-tuning things in September here, and hopefully be able to fish a little bit into October with the float tube. I did go down to, we have a dive shop here in Bemidji, and last week I swung in there because I had the day off, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to stop in here and ask a few questions. I'm going to need new scuba boots for my fins, so I can get them right here in town. I don't have to try to order them, which is kind of nice. But we got to talking about like dive pants, that type of stuff. So I'm still, do I get chest waders or do I get dive pants? I have a feeling I think I'm going to end up going with chest waders at some point. I'm continuing to lose some weight here. I'll get into that here in a second, but I think chest waders and doing a layering system up underneath, it'd just be easier. At first I thought, man, if I got myself some like scuba pants or dive pants or whatever, the neoprene, that'd be slick, man. That'd be awesome. But the problem is getting those things on and off. Where waders are just, you unclip them and you step right out of them. Not so much with neoprene dive pants. I'm sick of getting my car seat wet. So I have a feeling it's going to be waders. I might get them over this winter. We'll see what happens. It's also one of those things that I have to go and try on. I have no idea what size waders and all that kind of stuff. I have a few ideas as far as brands. Been doing a little research on that. And I want, I'm not bougie by any means. I don't need to have the best, but I do want to purchase my first pair that are going to last me for a little while. So I highly doubt they'll be $1,000 Sims or anything like that, but I'm guessing they'll be a couple $100. So we'll see. And then I do have some plans for this winter for the flow tube, some modifications. I was able to find a fiberglass, I think it's a material handling tray that would be used in an automated process somewhere in some factory. The dimensions seem to fit perfect. It's like $46 or something like that, and $26 to ship it. That's crazy. Either way, it's fiberglass. The one I have now is this thin polypropylene plastic. It's a little bit flexible. I don't know. It might even be warped a little bit from the sun. I mean, it does the trick, but I want something a little bit more rigid. And I have an idea on how to mount my FLX 28 to it and have the transducer right below me, shooting down through the tray and down in between my legs. But I'll be kind of housed in some PVC pipe, the transducer. So it'll almost be like a solid transducer arm. I just got to get some transducer cables modified, and probably have to do something with the power cable. I'm not 100% sure, but that's a winter project, man. Winter is coming. Clam just had their pro day the other day, and I'm still curious, even though I'm not ice fishing as much as I used to be. It's always kind of fun to take a look, and they've got some new shelters and tackle and clothing and all that kind of stuff. I particularly dive into shelter design just because it's a structure. I kind of know a little bit about how that goes about. And they got some interesting things. They're working on they've worked on some cool things. It's a little bit different. I'm still a big fan of the flip over style fish houses. It suits my style fishing. And so that's what I usually gravitate towards. But speaking of ice fishing, coming up here in October, I believe it's still Halloween weekend. I should know this because I'm a part of it. The virtual ice fishing show put on by Smackdown Outdoors, myself, the lone angler, and Full Scale Outdoors, old Dale Luganbill there. Yeah, we're going to be doing it, man. 3rd year in a row, I believe. We'll be hailed up there at Thorne Brothers, and all weekend going live. And we'll be live on YouTube. I would suggest that you watch it on YouTube. It's the best viewing experience. And, you can still, if you're doing YouTube on your phone, you can still chat with us just like you can on Facebook and that kind of stuff. But I don't know if we're going to be doing streaming over to Twitch or not. I think I asked Doug about that, and he was kicking around the idea. We're still fine-tuning some things here and there, but things are coming together. So I hope to hear the feedback. I hope to see you all there, but I won't be seeing anything. Doug's got the laptop. I'm going to be paying attention and asking questions and fielding answers if need be. So I always look forward to it. It's a pretty fun weekend, and I hope to hear that you guys were all there to check out all the new stuff. It's a great way to get a little advance notice on some of the stuff that's coming out. The St. Paul Ice Fishing Show will happen again this coming winter, and what this show our virtual show gives you an idea of what to look for at the St. Paul Ice Show. And so when you go there, you can track it down quicker and purchase it if you want to, or get more information on it if you want to. The St. Paul Ice Show is an amazing place, but there are times where it can get so busy that you can't even think straight. So this is a good way to get a little bit closer look at what's coming for the ice fishing season through our virtual fishing show. So, man, I am doing all right. We're cruising right along here. It's hard to do these things by yourself. I have a cat sitting over there on the couch just staring at me like I'm an idiot, but it is what it is. I'm going to introduce a new little segment, and hopefully if I can remember, I'll bring it back each time. But I have some recommendations for you. Now, I'm just going to use the word recommendations. It is a broad stroke right there. Could be some fishing stuff. Could be some movies, could be some music, could be some books. It could be anything. But I do have some recommendations here, and it just so happens to be I'm going to talk about a book, some new music that I found, TV show that I watched was absolutely amazing, and a little item I picked up recently at the hardware store.
What are you doing in my house? I want waffle fries.
All right, let's go. Let's get into these recommendations. First up, the book that I want to recommend. I've read this book 7 times. Matter of fact, I wanted to read it again, but I don't think I have it. I think I borrowed it out to somebody. And if you're listening and you have my book, please reach out to me. Either that or I'll just buy another copy. But the book is called Sow Belly by Monty Burke. Monty Burke was a writer for, I think, a Fortune 500, the magazine Fortune 500. But he also had this like side passion of angling. And he decided to take some time off work and write a book about the world record largemouth bass and how, if it will be broken and how it's going to be broken and so on and so forth. So Monty takes you on an adventure across the United States and interviewing gentlemen who that's their sole mission in life now, is to break the world record. George Perry's 22-pound, 4-ounce largemouth, Montgomery, Alabama, I believe. Yeah. And he interviews a gentleman in Mississippi who has I would consider it a lake, but it's like a 40-some acre pond that he's trying to grow one in. The state of Texas and their Lone Star Lunker program, he interviews those guys. They're also trying to grow world record largemouth. And of course, he ends up in California talking to the bass heads around the San Diego area and those lakes down there that are, big trout ponds or reservoirs that got these absolute giant largemouth bass in there. It's just a really, really cool read. Even if you're not really into bass fishing, but just into big fish in general, it's such a cool read you get an idea of some of the mentality of these guys that are just absolutely addicted to, it's not even for fame or fortune. It's like a personal quest. Like once I get it, I'm done. I'm done angling. I want that to be my retirement piece. So it's a really, really cool book, but it's called Sow Belly by Monty Burke. Go ahead and Google that. A little bit of music here. Those of you that know me know that I dabble. Well, I don't dabble. I live within the dark heavy metal world. I don't know why. I just love this stuff. I love the tempo. I love the beats. I like the lyrical content. I like everything about it. And I don't know how I discovered this band, but it is way out of my wheelhouse, and I'm absolutely enjoying it because it's cool. It's different. It's relaxing. And it can be very emotional at times. The band is called Heilung, Heilung. And this is like old Nordic folk music type stuff with some electronic, not electronica or dubstep or anything like that, but it's got some electronic elements in it. All the band members make their own instruments from, animal hides and bones and stuff like that. Just go to YouTube and look up Anawana, Anaona. That's the song that got me hooked on this band, and I've just been YouTubing and watching live shows and stuff. There's something about it that just really resonates with me, and it's very relaxing, and it's also kind of therapeutic at times. It's not, I don't think it's something that I could listen to day in and day out, but it has its moments, and I'm really enjoying that a lot. My TV streaming / movie recommendation. I'd heard about this a while back, and I finally got around to watching it. Dope Sick. It's a Hulu original. You can only find it on Hulu. It stars Michael Keaton, and it's about the beginning of the Oxycontin epidemic that took over Appalachia in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, and the pharmaceutical company that was behind Oxycontin. It's 7 or 8 episodes long, and it is phenomenal. It also kind of makes you a little bit angry. It's interesting, but it's all based on true events. So if you are into like Breaking Bad, but this is more of a reality, then definitely check out Dope Sick on Hulu. My last recommendation, I just thought of it because I'm so excited. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I got myself, I was at Home Depot, and I think I just went up there to walk around and try to get some ideas for some flow tube shit that I'm working on. And I'm walking by the tape measures, and I see this little tiny, it's cute, this little tiny Milwaukee 6 foot tape measure. It's got a little key ring clip thing on it. And I bought it because there has been multiple times where I've wanted to buy something for the Goblin's Den, and I've measured out, like, say it's a bookshelf or a bookcase, or it could be anything. Who knows? When I have a project, there's always dimensions involved, and I write this shit down on a piece of paper. I either forget the piece of paper in the car, or I lose it between the car and the store. And then when I'm in the store, sometimes there's dimensions on objects, sometimes there's not. And I've literally been in the store going to buy something, like especially like Menards or Home Depot or Lowe's, and I end up walking over to the tool section, grab a tape measure, go back, measure the thing, see if it'll fit. So I got kind of tired of that, and it just hit me, and I bought this little 6 foot tape measure. It's just freaking cute. It's on my Instagram. It's part of like my everyday carry type stuff. It'll probably stay in the car, but whenever I go into the store or whatever, I'll just toss that little bad boy in the pocket, and it's not very big at all. But I'll tell you what, I've used it like 4 times already this weekend. I've only had the thing for like 36 hours. It's really come in handy. So not only is it a recommendation, but a little bit of a pro tip as well. Grab yourself one of these little tape measures. I mean, it's even got a little lock on it, a little lever lock. I mean, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. It works good. So there we go. There's some recommendations for you. Oh my gosh. Oh, uh-oh. That was the old Apple Watch telling me I got a couple of notifications. Oh my God. We got Snapchats, and Fly Fish Food just dropped a new fly tying tutorial, which is perfect because I think that's how I'm going to finish out my night. Sitting at the fly tying bench and making some of these ice fishing jigs. That's what I call them. I'm not a Euro nymph jig fisherman yet, and I don't know that I will be when it comes to fly fishing, but that's basically what they are Euro nymph jigs. I just put a little extra lead wire on them to give them a little bit more heft, but I have these I got some color combinations dancing around in my head, and I want to get these suckers tied up to get ready for that September-October giant panfish bite that goes on vertically. Yeah. I failed to mention the rods that I'm using when I'm flow tubing and vertically fishing these things, man. I'm using spoons, but I'm using just ice fishing rods, man. I'm using the Elliott 44-inch. I have like three that are different ones. I have the 44-inch noodle, 44-inch ultra or light, and the 44-inch ultralight, which are awesome. They are awesome because you can actually cast with them. I have little spinning reels for those. And then I always have like a mag lurchin or a spoon daddy set up too with a spoon on it. Just a small spoon. sometimes those small spoons will get you the bigger panfish. So, yeah, ice fishing rods are a dream come true in a flow tube, 100%. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this thing up. I hope you guys have a great Monday. Thanks for listening. I need to do this more often. If I don't have anything to talk about, I'm really not going to jump on here and try to record some stuff because it sounds weird. This time, my excuse is I'm a little out of practice. I had stuff to talk about, but, it happens. So, hey, anyway, kick Monday in the ass, and maybe we'll connect again later this week. Hopefully some cool shit happens so I can talk about it. All right, until then, keep your hook sharp. Keep your wit even sharper. Ooh, that was good.